What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Quick review of the Arsenal season so far. 4 games in the league, 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. How can they improve? What have they done well at the start? So obviously the first game of the season was Newcastle away. They picked a bit of a different team, to be fair. A lot of players came back late from international tournaments. A few players came back from injury. Obviously some signings were made at the end of the window, so it sort of delayed us picking our best team. We went to Newcastle with a much changed team. It was a decent game, really, considering the strength of the team we had out. Newcastle were in a bit of turmoil. They had a protest before the game. Obviously new manager. I don't think Steve Bruce is overly popular at Newcastle after Rafa Benitez left, who was a great manager. And we managed to win that game 1-0. Aubameyang doing what top strikers do, you know, 1 chance, 1 goal, clinical. And we leave there with 3 points. Go to the first home game of the season, Burnley at home. I wanted to see the front 3, man. Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette. You know, he kept Pepe back, kept him on the bench, and went with Lacazette and Aubameyang up front. It was an interesting game. This David Luiz came in, made his debut. He had a solid game. It's always hard playing against Burnley, man. Barnes and Chris Wood, you know, they're both very good in the air. They put a lot of crosses in. Arsenal aren't great at dealing with the aerial threat. And Lacazette got the goal, put us in front. Sloppy equaliser got them back into it, and we win the game with a brilliant Aubameyang goal. For me, the best player at Arsenal. Does exactly what you want him to do, and that's score goals. People think it's easy, but you know, there aren't many top strikers around right now. I would say he's easily in the top 6 or 7 strikers in world football right now, if you look at the numbers and the goals he scores. Pepe came on at half time, bit of magic, you know, the amazing nutmeg that he'd done on the Burnley defender. Still looked a bit shaky from the crosses, but overall good performance. First home win of the season. We move on to the next game, which is Liverpool at Anfield. This has been like a horror movie over the years. You know, we've took 4s and 5s up there, hammered. This time we lost 3-1. People tried to be positive about this, but for me, I was disappointed. I thought the manager set up wrong. He played like the diamond in midfield that just gave their fullbacks all the time in the world on the ball. People's argument was, well, you know, they didn't really score from any of the crosses that the fullbacks put in, but the problem was we couldn't get up the pitch. It was just constant pressure. And when you're playing against a team of that quality, you can't say just keep attacking us, because eventually they're going to break you down. As soon as they got 1 goal, they opened us up. Defensively, we were poor. After that, we got a consolation goal at the end that made the scoreline look a bit better. But let's be honest, Liverpool could have scored 5 or 6, and they really took their foot off the gas towards the end. For me, that was disappointing. I'll never celebrate a defeat. I don't mind looking at the positives, but overall, I wasn't happy with it. We then went to Tottenham at home. Big North London derby just before the international break. Started off, you know, gave away 2 goals. This is the problem with Arsenal. Like, when you're playing against the top 6, you can't give goals away, and Arsenal do that too much. Again, 2-0 down, penalty given away. People after the game were being positive. You know, 2-0 down, got a draw. I understand that, but my point was, we've spent a lot of money in the summer on a lot of players. I want to see progress. I don't want to see us 2-0 down. Go there, be tight defensively. Tottenham didn't do a lot. You shouldn't be able to go to any team in the top 6 and get a 2-goal lead without having to do something. If you go to Manchester City's ground, Liverpool's ground, you are not just going to go 2-0 up by just playing okay. You're going to have to produce a couple of moments of magic to go 2-0 up. We're turning up, you know, shots like at Leno that he should have held on to. He palms it out. Then Xhaka, moment of madness, gives away a penalty. Xhaka for me is done at Arsenal. You know, he's had enough years at the club to prove himself. The Premier League for me, I think, is just too quick for him. I don't think he can cope with it. especially against the big teams who really press him and put him under pressure. But that's a whole other matter. Got a 2-2 draw going into the international break. I think the only thing that made that not the worst of results is you look at Tottenham, you know, losing the week before to Newcastle. Man United have dropped points as well, you know, and they look shaky. They look like they got problems. So I'm hoping going into these next couple games now, Watford away, Villa at home, our next two league games, it's a chance for us to get settled. Hopefully Pepe gets a goal, gets off the mark. Lacazette and Aubameyang have got their goal. But the manager, Unai Emery, needs to establish what his best team is, what his best formation is. I said this to Robbie after the game against Tottenham. I don't know what this manager's style is. It's not the high press Liverpool, it's not the tiki-taka Man City. It's just like we're kind of freestyling a little bit. We're relying on the front two to get the goal all the time, and this is a comment I received a little bit of, you know, a few comments back about this saying, well, the strikers are meant to score goals. I wasn't saying the strikers shouldn't score. My point is the rest of the team have to contribute. Where's the goals from the middle and midfield? Where's the goals from the wide players? You can't just rely on your strikers. Top teams score goals from all over the place. Even centre backs, you know, get 3, 4, 5 goals sometimes. People have to contribute. For me, Emery's just got to get us settled now, figure out what our best team is, and run with that, and run with our best formation. So I'm hoping after the international break now, I mean, I watched that England game yesterday. It's like watching paint dry, man. And we got exciting players, and they're still boring to watch overall as a team. So Arsenal back next weekend, back to business. Unai Emery, get us settled. I think we've got a great chance of getting in the top 4 this season. United look disjointed. Sold Lukaku, sold Sanchez, didn't bring a striker in. Relying on Rashford, whose numbers show, as much as I rate him as a player, hasn't been the most clinical. So I think we can finish above United. And you look at Chelsea, lost Hazard, their best player. Haven't been able to buy anyone. They're banned from signing players. I don't think Abraham's good enough to lead them to the top 4 personally. Not a bad young player, but I don't think he's the level. You know, you look, they've had man like Costa up front over the years. Arsenal come back after the break. Hopefully the signings are settled now. A lot of our top players, Lacazette, Aubameyang, David Luiz, these guys haven't been away for international duty. You know, they're not playing for their country for whatever reason, retired or not selected. No excuse for us. Come back with a bang at Watford. And hopefully Arsenal can get in that top 4 this season. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think to the start to the season. I'd give it a 7. You know, I think it's difficult when you've made a lot of new signings to play 2 of the big 6 in the opening 4 games. It's not easy. Sometimes you need a bit more time to settle. Of course, we got rid of like over 10 players in the summer as well, so wholesale changes. But come on, Unai, get it right. Let me know what you think of the start to the season. I'd probably give it a 7 so far. Room for improvement though. Maybe even 6.5. Room for improvement. Let me know what you think. Formation, team, how you think we should be setting up. Look out for more videos. Like, comment, subscribe. Bless.